of Netflix, where your fearless co-hosts Isaac and Larry force each other to watch the worst pieces of shit on Netflix. We will go over every bad edit, all the broken dialogue, all the wooden acting, and laugh along the way, because this is the Bowels of Netflix! Alright, welcome to the Bowels of Netflix. I am Isaac, and with me as always is my fearless co-host Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
So, I don't know if I've ever actually said this on the show, but I talk about my dog a lot. So, do you know my dog's name, Isaac?
Seamus.
Yeah, and so you know, but other people don't know, may not know, that he's named after a wrestler.
The Wrestler? The Great White?
Yes. Not that I'm such a wrestling dork that I chose his name like that on purpose. I started shooting out names that were fired into my head at him on the second day I owned him, and he came up and licked my face after I said Seamus, so that's how he got his name.
Alright, it works. It's a good name for a dog.
So anyway, if you've never seen the wrestler Seamus, he's like a big pale dude with like frequently a red mohawk, and yeah, he's a cool looking guy. Whatever.
Yeah, super Irish.
Yeah, super duper Irish. So I was playing Skyrim again because that's what quarantine has driven me to. And I'm like, I'm going to play as Seamus because he's really easy to make it a character creator. Because just make the palest man you can, give him a beard, make his hair red. Boom, done.
Makes
Seamus,
sense.
Boom.
Yeah, easy.
And I thought to myself, I'm going to make Seamus the wrestler who's going to only punch things. And then I'm going to go find a place that spies a dog. And I'm going to name the dog Seamus. And it's going to be Seamus and Seamus. And then I'm going to kill myself because this is what it's come to. This is what this is what my life has come to. This is what I do in my free time willingly.
So, your ultra exciting video game fantasy world is basically your life, but if you were Seamus.
Pretty much. Yeah, sure, I guess. It's not like an escapism fantasy. It's just something to do. But I just realized that what am I doing? Isaac, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
My quarantine video game go-to has just been going into a already completed game of GTA 5, not on multiplayer or anything, but just where I have all the money and all the weapons, and just driving around for like 45 minutes as fast as I can and killing people and blowing things up and getting wanted levels and trying to escape.
I've done that many, many times.
Yeah, it's very sad. There's no sense of community or socialization or progress even from like a single player RPG or something.
It's just the Bowels of Netflix with your two saddest co-hosts.
We are the two saddest friends who have ever existed, and we hate each other dearly. So every week, one of us makes the other one watch the worst movie they can find on Netflix, and we describe it back in excruciating detail. Please find us on the internet. We live at bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. We'd love to get an email from you. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. The TikTok's going to happen. It's going to happen, I swear to God. But yeah, we're the only Bowels of Netflix out there.
I'd really love to see what TikToks you come up with, because that sounds like really good humor.
Googly eyes on dicks. That's all I got. I have, like, a whiteboard, like, the size of a house. I sold my house for a giant whiteboard, and all I have is a dick with googly eyes on it.
I wondered why you were streaming from under a bridge with a gigantic whiteboard, but yeah, I guess that answers that question.
Well, at least I'm warm. I have some coats I acquired recently from a mall, legally.
Yeah, you definitely didn't run into a mall and steal coats.
No, why would I do that?
By the way, internet, start trolling fucking New Jersey newspapers and look for Isaac's name and a fucking ring of coat thefts, because that's a whole thing.
Oh, God. So, yeah. Also, rate and subscribe, do all that fun stuff.
Yes,
we're a small-time gig.
Please do those things.
But we would love to get a bigger listenership and, keep this little engine that could chugging along. We don't want its steam to peter out and us to just fall over and die sadly on the side of the road in a coat from Burlington Coat Factory.
We do we put a lot of time and effort into this. I know it sometimes seems like we don't, but we actually do. And it'd be really cool if you'd like to subscribe and tell your friends and do the things so we get more listeners.
Oh yeah, hide your grandma's medicine until she listens to the fucking show for once.
Still on that one,
That bitch.
For Christmas, get your grandmother the podcast or death.
She's not getting Christmas. Tell it, Grandma, listen, bitch. I'm not coming over for Christmas. Listen to the Bowels of Netflix. Merry fucking Christmas.
This is we're recording this 2 days after Thanksgiving. because the world is dying, I didn't do anything, but hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Or not. I don't care. I was watching Netflix.
Hopefully most of our listeners are still alive in 4 weeks. We'll see how that goes.
Fuck.
Stay safe, because we need you more than you need us.
Honestly, that's very true. I'd kill myself live for ratings, but I mean, we need you to press the download button so you have to live.
Yourself first, Larry, so you can enjoy it. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going with that one.
What movie did you watch this week, Larry?
Fucking Coffee and Kareem.
So, how do you take your coffee, by the way?
Cream and sugar.
Okay.
I actually, so I only started drinking coffee when I was 26. I know, considering it's one of the only things I love and talk about. But I only started drinking it not long ago in the grand scheme of things. And I actually took a lot of flack for drinking it with cream and sugar because basically everyone I know drinks it black. And it gave me like a complex for 2 weeks of being lesser than. Because A, I'm all broken in my brain. And B, why the fuck does anybody drink black coffee? What's wrong with me wanting cream and sugar?
Like what you like, and that's the only thing that matters, Larry.
Oh, God, that's never been true, and you know it. It's not how society works.
Okay.
It's all shame. It's nothing but shame. Much of it's self-inflicted, yes, but...
Like what you like, and put the shame in a small little box that only comes out while you're trying to go to sleep.
God, that's what I've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah, I know.
I just basically don't... Why are we starting so sad?
Because it's month 8 of quarantine.
Lord, it really is. So, yeah, Coffee and Kareem. So, yeah, you thought my Seamus and Seamus buddy cop story was with Seamus the dog and Seamus the wrestler in Skyrim was unrelated, but it actually is related because we're talking fucking buddy cop movies in 2020 like it's the goddamn 80s all over again. Oh,
I love me a buddy cop. Is this like Lethal Weapon? Is it as good?
No, what's wrong with you?
Really? No?
What a stupid question. What a stupid question to a stupid man. No. So Coffee Kareem, Netflix original. So back on that fucking train. Because, lots of those suck, apparently, is what I'm learning. Not that I didn't already know that, but it's just, now we have fucking confirmation of how many of these goddamn movies suck. So 2020 came out this year. It's starring Ed Helms of The Office fame and Hangover fame. Which I don't love him in either. I know, I don't know. The Office is fine. I don't have a great love for it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not as in love with it as much of America seems to be. But yeah, Ed Helms never really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, I'm a fairly big fan of both of those, Hangover and The Office.
Yeah,
but
Hangover's fine.
Ed Helms is definitely, he has his place in those movies, but he's never a show stealer.
Right. It's like his bit is like quirky weirdo, sort of.
Yeah, kind of like lame nerd.
Yeah,
quirky.
Like ultra lame white guy. And boy, howdy, do they lean into that this movie.
Oh, boy.
Basically, there's nobody else in this is a really big name. One of the other police officers, we'll get to her, but yeah, that's kind of, he's the draw. Like, he's the big draw, which really... not that much if you think about it. But, so on Rotten Tomatoes, this currently has a 20% on the tomato meter, so pile of shit out of 69 ratings, and a 30% audience score.
That's
rough.
Pretty low too.
That's rough. That's out of 403 ratings. Now, because this movie's so new, and because it's a Netflix original, and everybody in the fucking world is stuck inside their house unless you're an idiot, I suppose that's a little harsh. So let me step back from that a little bit. A lot of people are stuck inside, so a lot of people have seen this. So we're getting a lot of very fresh reviews here, and not Rotten Tomatoes fresh. There are a few on here which I'd like to meet those people and ask them where on their head they were dropped as an infant. Where's the IMDb? There it is. IMDb, it has 5.1 stars, middle of the road, about average, what we come to expect. The director is someone named Michael Dowse, who don't really care who he is. I looked at some of his filmography, nothing exciting. White man, let's just remember that. And
oh boy.
Just keep that in the back of your head. And the writer is someone named Shane Mack, who I could not find really any information about. Coffee and Kareem is his first real writing credit. He has wrote short films, but I mean, technically you and I have fucking written short films that could be on IMDb if you really think about it. So honestly, those mean nothing to me as far as IMDb reviews go. Like that, I think you could just fucking user submit them. We could probably submit Goons, the thing we did years ago, and have it on IMDb, really. So those don't matter. This is his first real writing gig.
Yeah, actually, like, picked up by a production house or by Netflix, whatever.
Yes. So, I don't know anything about him, but I'd like to, because I'm curious, because I have questions about some of the choices made, but we'll get to that.
Huh. I'm intrigued. He's white as well, probably?
No idea. Not a clue.
No idea.
Couldn't find a single picture of him, or any information about him at all, other than the fact that he wrote this, he wrote 2 other short films, and he was additional crew in Twilight, which... He could have
The name Shane Mack sounds like he's very pale and he has a red mohawk.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. I don't know, but I also took a look at some of the Google reviews, and just I didn't remember until a couple minutes before we started recording, so I didn't get a chance to really read them. But man, I gotta tell you, Isaac, we gotta start incorporating people's user Google reviews in more, because
you find some hot juice.
Boy, howdy. Because Rotten Tomatoes even has, even the user reviews on that, it's tend to be a little more cultured, because it's a lot of times it's critics, like professional critics, and then amateur critics, and then people who wish they were amateur critics. Google reviews is just everyone else, and my God.
Yeah, I feel like people who are on Rotten Tomatoes are generally, to some degree, movie buffs, so they take it halfway seriously. Whereas a Google review, is just some asshole saw it and wanted to write. And yeah,
and some of these are just incredible. The things people astonish me. So yeah, well, I didn't get a chance. Unfortunately, this time I didn't get a chance to look at it. But I want to start incorporating that in more, because God Almighty, those are some real winners.
I like that idea.
I don't see any reason to fucking delay this any longer. Let's just get into it. So my guess is that at the outset of this movie's creation, some intern in a room, maybe Shane Mack, said over his third cup of coffee, maybe we called the guy Coffee and his partner is, I don't know, like Kareem? Like Cream? Kareem? Is that anything? And then, much like the popular meme, he was promptly thrown from the building, and the executive he told it to took credit for the idea, and they built the movie around that one joke. One joke. That's it. The tagline for this movie should have been Coffee and Kareem. Nothing special. All right. So this was a bad one. We start with the title and some fairly generic raps, as far as I'm concerned, not an aficionado, as we see a fat black boy, Kareem, get on a bus being watched by a dumpy white police officer, Coffee. As mentioned before, Coffee is played by Ed Helms of The Office and Hangover fame. Like I said, quirky weirdo. To date, I cannot pin any point where I ever found him either funny or entertaining in... Let me check my notes. Yeah, in any way. He's white bread with nothing on it. And that is going to become very clear.
Now, what kind of... Because he plays Coffee, what kind of roast would you say he is in the movie?
Vanilla.
They make a vanilla roast?
Yeah, man. They make everything.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a dark Italian or something,
No,
Handsome,
it's
chiseled,
vanilla.
mysterious.
It's white.
Oh,
it's white. Whatever's white, it's white.
Folger's boring flavor.
Folger's white.
Folger's suburban hellscape.
Yeah, well, this movie does take place in Detroit, so not quite.
Oh, Folger's urban hellscape, just with more rat shit in it.
Jesus Christ. This is a nightmare. This show is a nightmare. Doing this show has become my nightmare. Just the fucking landmines I have to walk around this goddamn pile of shit, shat out by a nobody writer who hopefully never gets a job again. So Helms sneaks into the house Kareem left out of, where he meets with Vanessa, Kareem's mom, and they have relatively bland sex. While she is on top, Helms thinks he notices Kareem sneaking by past a crack in the door. He tries to tell Vanessa about it, but she, I'm going to say very accurately, tells him to not to, quote, please stop saying my son's name while you're inside of me.
Well, Got to use that line.
Yeah. Please, I need you to never have a child. That's very important to me. Now, Isaac, I've reviewed a fair number of movies on the show so far. Among my most hated, as you may be aware, were the Wayans movies.
Yes, indeed.
Because, as we all know, I hate Marlon Wayans. Even if I've grown to respect him a tiny bit, still hate his movies.
And you've seen 3 of them, right?
Sure have, motherfucker.
I love you.
I know you don't. So, the biggest crimes of his movies, and if you listen back to the at least the last 2 episodes for sure, Naked and fucking
Sextuplets, right?
That's it. God damn. Try to forget these things. There's always, near the beginning of the movie, big exposition dump of meaningless details by the opening that throw a bunch of information at us that breaks the cardinal rule of movie making, which is, of course, show don't tell. So in that same vein, we get a big info dump here that I'm going to boil down to a simple set of facts. Kareem hates coffee. Coffee loves Vanessa. Vanessa won't fuck Coffee unless he makes nice with Kareem. That's all you need to know. That's fucking...
So, the standard stepmom with a kid story.
Yes. Yeah. Don't expect anything new and exciting here, by the way, because it ain't happening. And we get all this in, like, stilted, awkward, I'm putting on my pants and you're putting on your clothes dialogue as they're, like, talking about, well, when the first time he saw me, it was like he's looking at me in the prison yard. So
Very good Ed Helms impression. Do you get boobies, by the way?
What?
Do you get boobies in the shot?
No. No, there's no nudity in this.
Okay.
It's
PG-13, probably?
I think it's MA. That's...
Really?
I want to get to that later.
Okay.
It's weird. There's like a weird... I don't know. We'll get to it later, but we have a lot to talk about there, but we're going to get to it. Oh, and by the way, so usually when these movies have a recognizable celebrity in them, like Ed Helms, I just call them by their government name because it's easier. But in this case, I hate Ed Helms and I love coffee, so I'm going to call him Coffee because fuck you, I can do whatever I want. It's America.
Fair enough.
And Coffee's his last name. That's why everybody calls him Coffee. So it turns out Kareem was home at the time of the fucking and did spy them. So at school, Kareem is on the shitter talking to his white friend. So, fuck's sake, let's talk about Kareem. Kareem is a foul-mouthed 12-year-old, like, diabolically overweight little black boy that every word out of his mouth feels incredibly uncomfortable. Because it's clear that he was directed by a white man who said, like, this is what little black kids sound like, right?
Oh, boy.
It's not overly racial. Like, it is at points, but that's usually a plot point. We'll get to that. But it's more of just, like, I can tell that this kid is an actor reading a script and not a real person, which, A, takes me out of the movie, and B, come on, man. We've got to stop this. We have to stop this.
Would it be fair to say the character Kareem is a white man's fever dream of Biggie Smalls as an adolescent?
Yeah, that's actually 100% accurate.
I saw about 30 seconds of Kareem on screen, and like that's the impression I got.
You've actually blown my mind with how accurate that is. I wish I was that clever to have thought of that. Yes, Kareem is what a bland 50-year-old white man thinks that young Biggie Smalls looks like. Wow. All right, so Kareem is talking to his generic friend. He's looked up Coffee and found out that he's a cop, despite the fact that Coffee and the mom have been dating, but I guess they just said he was like, I don't know, a paper salesman or whatever. Eh? See what I did there, Isaac?
I get it.
See the connection I made?
I get it.
I'm deeply unhappy with my life.
Anyway, Kareem's reference, right?
Shut the fuck up. Kareem's friend says that associating with cops will ruin Kareem's rap career. Because, as I said, young Biggie Smalls. God damn, you've really blown this case wide open.
The only career path for a young black man in an urban setting is rap artist.
Kareem tells his friend that he, and Isaac, this is not a joke, got the name of a local drug dealer with which he can pay to have Coffee beaten, maybe to death.
He's 12, right?
He's 12.
Jesus.
Anyway, the hall monitor and teacher come in, and she's a pretty Asian lady, and Kareem is summoned back to class to give some unspecified presentation. We cut to a police raid where we see Debbie, otherwise known as Liberty Bell from Glow, the Netflix series, leading a SWAT team on a drug raid. It's a pity to say she'll never inhabit that particular role again because Netflix canceled Glow. Hey, Netflix. Thanks. Thanks for that. That's great. Hey. That's great. That's really
Netflix.
Great. Thank you for canceling one of the best shows you had. Not even just because I'm a wrestling fan at Star Wrestling. Just a great show about, women getting by in the 80s, a time when there was not a lot of that. Just thanks. Hey, thanks. Thanks.
How many seasons
How many
did they
seasons
get?
of fucking Hemlock Grove are there? 12? I think it's 12.
Oh.
I don't care, because it's about fucking werewolves, somebody's fucking a werewolf in it, I'm sure. But you couldn't get past 3 seasons of Glow? Couldn't keep it going? Canceled before you finished? Thank you. Jackasses. Anyway, Debbie, which is what I'm going to call her henceforth, tells her men not to shoot anyone so they don't end up on YouTube again. They toss a typical drug house and beat up some gangbangers, seizing a bunch of cocaine. In the bathroom is Orlando Johnson, the gangster Kareem mentioned he was going to pay to beat up Coffee. Johnson tries to make a break for it, but gets captured. We cut to a news story showing Debbie and co. making the arrest, mentioning that they incinerated over 1 ton of delicious, white, pure, tasty cocaine. A moment of silence. Anyway,
Are you a coke addict now, Larry?
Ever since Delta Farce, I really, honestly want to do cocaine. I'm about to turn 30. I've been in quarantine for 8 months. I'm losing my fucking mind, and I'm ready to do cocaine.
Snort espresso first. See how that goes.
Live on this podcast, I will do cocaine. I'll tell you what.
Oh no. Is there a Patreon level?
If we get 100 subscribers by February of 2021,
oh God,
I will do cocaine on the show. There you go. There's an incentive for you. That's a fucking promise. I've made 2 promises. 1, I will never fuck you. 2, I will do cocaine if we get 100 subscribers by February.
I feel like if you're in a coke frenzy, promise number 1 might go out the window pretty quick.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So we see in the news story that Coffee was the one tasked with transporting Johnson to, I guess, jail. When Johnson manages to break out of the cop car and easily bamboozle Coffee and steal the car, escaping. Also, I'm going to call Orlando Johnson the Juice from now on, because when life hands you OJ, you make fucking juice, motherfucker.
Fair enough.
So in the police captain's office, Coffee is making a formal complaint about Debbie, who is making threats to shove his dick and balls into his mouth and also into his ass. Debbie comes into the office and we get yet another scene of showing and not telling.
Yay.
I was going to give credit because they cleverly showed the escape scene via news story. So we didn't have to we were able to gloss over the plot points, but in a way that was interesting because you could see it. The news anchor was talking about Orlando Johnson escaped by breaking out the window of a cop car. And, they're showing him doing this and bamboozling poor white Ed Helms.
That's the way to do it.
And then they just go right back into then Debbie's like, oh, well, we all know you're divorced and your wife was blowing half of the Lions practice squad and, just oh, you're a shitty cop. You've always been a shitty cop. It's you guys fucking, come on. We don't need this. Coffee insists that Officer Choi, whoever that is, didn't have the Jews handcuffed properly, hence he was able to wriggle his way free. We learn that Debbie really despises Coffee, and they bicker, including a scene where I will give Helms credit. He tells her a flimsy comeback to one of her jokes by saying, I'm sorry your vagina is small. And in the sake of comedy, I have always loved pronouncing vagina as Virginia for comedic effect. So I'll give you props for that one. Here's the thing. Helms isn't terrible. He's just always the same. And to me, that's the greatest crime in comedy. That's why I don't understand why Ray Romano has ever had work and Kevin James has also ever had work. These guys who just get into these routines they can never break out of. If you can't be any kind of dynamic, let's look at Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's a very funny man. Maybe was. I'm not sure about his recent work, but I just don't know. I'm not saying anything. And he can be, his characters are dynamic. The Mask and Ace Ventura are 2 different roles, And that's just to pull 2 random ones. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and The Mask are two different roles. Like,
Yeah. And even one tier down from that, and it might be a little weird with his current stuff, but Adam Sandler in his heyday, even though a lot of it, like, it was kind of schlocky, dumb, but, like, you compare The Waterboy to Billy Madison to Big Daddy, there's enough stuff that kind of overlaps, but they are unique enough where it's not just Ed Helms being Ed Helms in every goddamn movie.
There's a difference in having a style and being the same. Like, Adam Sandler has a style, but you're absolutely right. Like, Big Daddy and Billy Madison are two very different movies, and it's Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler, but the Adam Sandler is malleable. Ed Helms is just Ed Helms.
He's actually playing a character in
yes,
all of those movies.
Like,
sometimes worse characters than others. And none of them are great characters, but they're characters.
Right. I think you and I think it's interesting because there's a special place in my heart for certain Adam Sandler movies. Like Little Nicky and Big Daddy I will always love, even though I know they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little biased. But, right, like that's... I don't know. Ed Helms he commits that crime of like, oh, it's fucking Ed Helms. Or here comes the Ed Helms show again. Same thing. I sort of had the same problem with Steve Carell too. To touch back on The Office, he's kind of the same way. He's a little more malleable.
And
but,
there's some people can get away with that, but they have to have such a forceful personality, an unforgettable personality. Examples being Christopher Walken and Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say Bill Murray.
It works for them.
Because Bill Murray, his whole bit is basically just being a sarcastic asshole, but he's like the best at it.
Right. I think that's a very good example too.
You know, because he doesn't have a lot of variation, but he's like so on for most of his performances. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, I say I hate Ed Helms, but it's a show. I'm being kind of funny. I don't hate him. I just don't care about the Ed Helms show, you know? I'm over it. Excuse me. I can't believe that we're 27 and a half minutes in, and I've already been screaming enough that I've lost my voice. For a movie I don't really care about that much. It's just, this show is making me insane. An insane need for cocaine in my vein.
Oh, God. We need 100 subscribers, stat.
This is a promise. I will obtain that or I'll be in jail because I've illegally tried to obtain cocaine. So I can't podcast from jail. We've already talked about it.
We might be able to.
We'll give it a shot.
Just
I could definitely get cocaine in jail. That much I'm positive of.
Yeah.
Now, Debbie, on the other hand, I really should have looked up the actress's name. But anyway, she's great. And we'll talk about her more later. But
is it Meryl Streep?
Yes, it's Meryl Streep.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Fucking thing.
I love her.
It's Betty Gilpin is her name. And like I said, she was Debbie from Glow. And that is I love her in that role too. So, but yeah, she definitely pulls this movie up a little bit. But we'll talk about her more later when she gets into her own. So Coffee gets reassigned to traffic as all the others sarcastically applaud his exit because, like I said, he let Orlando Johnson, the Juice, escape. At the hospital, we see his girlfriend Vanessa, as she's some unspecified nurse. She tells a friend that Kareem specifically requested that Coffee pick him up to do some errand or other after school. In class, we see Kareem giving the presentation he was pulled from the shitter to give. Apparently, it's supposed to be poetry, but of course, because Kareem is a young black boy, it's a rap. And it's just about fucking the teacher, and it's bad. I was going to make you say some of the lines, but they aren't. I remembered them being funnier than they were.
Okay.
And it's not funny enough to merit you even saying it. So Kareem gets in the car to go with Coffee and ignores Coffee while he texts generic white friend, who, if memory serves, we literally never see again after this scene, even though he's been like integral to the Kareem plot up until now. So whatever. Coffee tries to make nice with Kareem, being as white as possible compared to Kareem being as stereotypically black as possible.
But Coffee is black, Larry, and Cream is white. I'm confused.
It's almost like that was the joke.
Oh, I get it now.
And you flip it and reverse it on its head.
Like Missy Elevator.
Missy Elevator, yep. Missy Elevator.
Oh, God. I should just go to Detroit and just lay down in the street and say, take me. I'm too white. I'm done. Detroit
will eat you alive.
Oh, my God,
and either murder you or spit you out as a better man. It's like, honestly, a coin flip. So the two of them have some banter back and forth. It's not much of anything. They don't see eye to eye. I don't even know what to mention and what not to mention. It's a buddy cop movie. they're inherently all the same, you know? Like, what is there to talk about? Helms is white, Kareem is black, put it together, opposites attract. I can write shitty movies too. It's fucking easy. It's real easy to write a bad movie.
This is basically Lethal Weapon.
It's so much work. That's an insult to Lethal Weapon. And I have not seen a single Lethal Weapon movie in, God, it might be 20 years. It's been so long.
I had the flu like 5 years ago and watched all 4 Lethal Weapons in a row in like a fevered haze, and they're so fun. Oh my god!
Yeah, they're very entertaining. This is not entertaining in the slightest.
Aww.
This is just
maybe you just get COVID and watch it and see what happens.
Hopefully, it kills me at that point. Like the buddy cop formula has been dead for a while, and it should be. It's done. It's over. You've done it. You've told the story. There's one story, and it's Lethal Weapon. You've told it. It's over. I'm sure there's other ones that are not bad. That's the only one I can think of because who fucking remembers any of them?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some that are tolerable, but after a dozen tolerable ones, none of them are tolerable.
And like I even read, I read a little bit about it. It seems like this was a kind of like a push to bring that back to prominence. Like, hey, we're making a buddy cop movie. Remember those? Like, apparently, I don't bother to write his name down. Apparently, the police chief is named after, like, the buddy cop director guy, whoever it was. Like, the guy who popularized it. Like, Walter Hill or something. So, like, it was clearly like a, hey, we're bringing this back. Coffee and Kareem 2021, 2022, 2020, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, but the fact that it flopped so hard, A, because it sucks. B, because it was written by a moron. Sorry, Shane. C, because it was just acted so and directed so poorly. And I just think the concept is just done. I think it's over. Like, I don't know. Throwing Ed Helms with a fat black kid is not a money-making idea, in my opinion. And I think I'm right, considering that nobody cared about this.
Yeah, that's really what this seems like, a puzzle of, oh, this will be hilarious. We just stick this together and this together.
And it doesn't work at all.
It's like trying to make a smoothie. You go to the blender, you're like, all right, we got some blueberries, we got some yogurt, we got a can of tuna, we got some motor oil.
And the tuna is Ed Helms.
My uncle's cum I've been storing on my cheek all week.
Like a squirrel, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Have we had the conversation about at what point, like, it would just mix with your saliva and not at all be cum anymore? How long do you have to store cum in your cheek?
I've never had cum in my cheek, so I'm unfortunately very ill-equipped to answer this question.
I feel like you wouldn't have long. I feel like a couple hours, and it's just going to be...
Do you ever wish you were bisexual?
Kinda?
I kind of do. I wish I had more options, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
I genuinely wish I was attracted to men. Like, and women. I mean, I like being attracted to women, but, like, I wish I could look at a man and be like, yeah, I'd suck his dick. This is terrible.
It's like you go to the buffet and they open a whole nother aisle of buffet stuff.
Exactly,
and you're like, oh shit, they have Kung Pao tofu? Yeah, I never thought I wanted to try that, but fuck, that looks good.
Kung Pao tofu looks good. Like, I really tried, but I just can't. It's just one of those things that it's like, oh man, I really wish this would be nice to have options, you know?
Yeah, God made me just a little too straight.
Yeah, a little too wrong. So fucking Dumb and Dumber ass arrive in the middle of Detroit, and yeah, like I mentioned, this does take place in Detroit, of course. And Kareem goes inside to speak to the Juice. The Juice, who escaped from police custody yesterday, the Juice who is on the run from the police, the Juice who is somehow being found by a 12-year-old who says he bought this information from a 10th grader. The Juice, who I guess tells 10th graders where the Juice goes to lay low when the heat gets turned up? Why do I care? Wait, hold on. What am I doing? So as Kareem is about to go in, he starts his stream to what I assume is Instagram or YouTube, where he lays out his entire plan about how he's going to have Coffee beat up. Inside the gym, because it turns out it's a boxing gym in the middle of fucking nowhere, Detroit, the Juice is questioning a tied-up police officer with a cut-off ear, a la Reservoir Dogs. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Reservoir Dogs. About how things went sour. So apparently, this is the previously mentioned Officer Choi, who loosened the cuffs on the Juice, allowing him to escape. So Coffee was not a complete buffoon, even though he still is a complete buffoon. Choi was in on the scheme to let
the Juice loose. Now, I gotta say, every time you say the juice, I really think you're saying the Jew. And I'm just picturing, like, what do you, like, oh, they, oh, God, I hate the...
I'm sugar. That's good.
I was gonna go to synagogue, but I have all this cocaine to move. Oh, boy.
I'm pretty sure that's been something Woody has said.
What would Mother say?
Give me a bump, Wood. So Juice has two other goons with him, Rodney and D. We never learned D's full name.
D's nuts?
That's probably, Isaac, that's probably right.
Yeah.
There's probably a cut scene where that's what his name is. Juice is shouting that Choi was blabbering about being on the take to everyone on the station, so now the jig is up. Juice eventually notices Kareem and we learn that apparently Rodney is the one who was selling drugs to kids and thus got the operation busted. So there's the plot hole I didn't care about, but also secretly cared about immensely, closed. Thank fucking God. Kareem mentions that since Juice clearly likes fucking up cops, he might be interested in adding another to the list. Juice asks what the cop in question did, and Kareem says he put his dick where it doesn't belong. Isaac, the obvious joke, please.
In his butt?
Yes, thank you. So he implies that Ed Helms was trying to rape him. So Kareem offers Juice a sock full of change to, quote, paralyze this pig from the waist down so his dick won't work anymore, unquote.
Jesus.
We also see that Kareem is still streaming the whole thing from his phone in his pocket. Officer Choi cuts in and starts screaming about how his boss is a monster and is going to cut out Juice from the deal as well, screaming that they're all dead. In response, D, the goon, shoots Choi 15 times in the chest. I counted. Kareem tries to leave, but the goons hold him at gunpoint while Coffee blunders his way into the gym after hearing the shots. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone hates everyone. Eventually, a call comes in over Coffee's radio saying his name, which distracts the Juice because he remembers that Coffee was the incompetent moron he stole the car from. So Kareem makes a break for it while the goons start shooting at him. He manages to leave his phone behind, and somehow Coffee's radio gets shot out in what must be the greatest shot in human history. There's a foot race through the streets as they run from the goons, eventually hiding in the trunk of a car. The owner of the car comes up and drives away, while back at the gym, the Juice finds Kareem's phone with the murder evidence on it and calls his mysterious benefactor, taking off in the van with the goons. This movie is so boring.
It's a lot that happened there, Larry.
It was just a dump of information. There was nothing funny or interesting happened, but like you need to know pretty much all of that. And from here on out, the movie's pretty much just nonstop chaos and buddy cop shenanigans. It never gets better. So in the trunk, or if you're me, the turnk, because you can't type.
Turnk.
The turnk, get turnked up. Coffee calls the station to inform them what happens. However, Kareem figures out that if Choi was dirty, there's no telling who isn't, so he muddles up the call and figures out that Juice has his phone, thus his mom is in danger. The two of them make some noise in the trunk, so the driver, a large bald black man, pulls over and lets them out. We get a scene here where Coffee basically steals his car so they can get to Vanessa faster. And we get an uncomfortable scene where the driver correctly accuses Coffee, who, let's not forget, is a white man, of having his hand on his gun, about to threaten and extort himself, an unarmed black man. Netflix. This is hi, hey, Netflix, are you there? God, it's me, Margaret. And by Margaret, I mean Larry. Twice in 1 year, man? Can't we just stop with this? Like,
cool it a little bit,
do
Netflix.
We have to go over this again? Netflix. I'm begging you. Our country's, like, even more broken than before. And you gotta stop.
There's movies that could handle that topic, but not Coffee and Kareem and not Last Days of American Crime.
You've gotta stop. You have to set the standard, okay? You fucking streaming bastards. You're killing me here with this fucking police brutality shit. So our heroes bully the guy into submission and take his car. Thankfully, fucking Ed Helms does not pull a gun on an unarmed black man. Hallelujah. Shortly thereafter, Juice and the goons pull up and give chase. Coffee and Kareem get to Vanessa's house. They try to play it cool about what happened, but she gets an Amber Alert about Kareem being kidnapped by Coffee. Both of them start trying to explain, each blaming the other, when Juice and co. roll up to the house. Vanessa's trying to call the cops and is screaming at Coffee for, I'm not kidding, being white, and her regrets at dating him because of that whiteness.
Okay.
When Kareem shoots her with Coffee's taser to get her to shut up. The goons roll up to the door, and Rodney, the stupid one, rings the doorbell to get to Juice's irritation. I'll keep bringing up Rodney, and we'll talk about why at the end of the movie, because it's real dumb. Because the goons don't really matter, except... we'll talk about it later. Fuck. God damn it. Oh, I'm so mad. They case the joint, but the heroes have escaped out the back door. They drive out to a seedy motel in the middle of nowhere, which, according to the guy at the desk, is where Coffee brings Vanessa to fuck. Now, according to my Alexa, Ed Helms is a 46 goddamn year old man. He's a police officer. You mean to tell me he doesn't have his own goddamn apartment with which to make tender interracial love to his girlfriend in? I don't know why, but this really irritated me. The fact that he brings her to this shitty hotel room. I don't fucking good piece of shit. You're 46.
Maybe he's got really good sheets. He doesn't want sexed upon.
She's not a sex worker. You don't get a fucking hotel room. What's the matter with you?
Might
anyway,
have
they
1,000 thread count Egyptian cotton. No
thread count stops mattering after 400. It's like one of those things.
Okay, Martha
where,
Stewart.
No. This is like one of those things where, like, you know, the human eye can't perceive higher than, like, I think it's like 1080p. That might be the highest. Like, anything better than that is, like, imperceptible to the human eye. It's the same thing with thread count. Like, the human skin you can't tell the difference. I'm not Martha Stewart. I'd be in jail and I'd have coke.
Don't tell me how sensitive my skin is. You haven't walked a mile on my balls.
I'm gonna walk a mile on your balls.
Ow.
Well, I mean, if your fucking wife's legs worked, she could do it for you. By the way, how is your wife?
Legless.
Legless?
What? Legolas is her favorite elf. That's yeah. Whoops. Almost misspoke there. She has legs. She still has legs.
We're gonna get arrested.
I mean, I have her legs. I own her legs.
We're gonna go to podcast jail.
Legally.
If I cut off my arm and give it to you, is it still my arm? Don't answer that. So our heroes, they get a room, and the obvious jokes are obvious because Ed Helms is a grown man entering a hotel room with a boy. He's gonna fuck the boy in his ass.
Okay.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. So our heroes handcuff the still unconscious Vanessa to a pipe in the bathroom. The only joke I at least smiled at here, they leave her with like a bunch of stuff to do while they're gone all around her, including crossword puzzles and food and water and a handful of tampons and maxi pads. It's a dumb and predictable joke that men don't know how periods work, but the fact that it's a boy and a man not knowing how periods work somehow is marginally funny to me, and I don't know why, and I'm a little ashamed of myself.
Yeah, I could see that being okay.
The fact that it's purely a sight gag, we don't have to see, like, if they were arguing about, like, what have women put up in their pussies? Because that's how Kareem talks. That's how he talks. Like, if they did that, it wouldn't be funny. But the fact that it's just a sight gag and it's like you have to imagine what that conversation was like, okay, that's fine. Good job.
Yeah.
That made me chuckle.
Showing and not telling.
It could have been much worse, so I'll give them that one. On the news, we see that Coffee is now being blamed for Choi's death as well. Coffee wants to go to the police captain, who is the only one he trusts, but Kareem talks him out of it. They argue some more, and eventually Kareem browbeats Coffee into agreeing never to see Vanessa again, and also take him to a strip club. Coffee doesn't want to give up Vanessa, but Kareem says if he doesn't, he will tell the media that Coffee was grooming Kareem to be his child wife, so Coffee has no choice.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. They're going to find Kareem's phone using the Find My Phone app or some shit, whatever. So the two roll up to the goons' hideout. They're staking the place out and banter some more. Kareem reasons out that Coffee became a cop because he got picked on as a kid. Kareem says that Coffee needs to learn how to trash talk. As such, he teaches him the method he uses. Because he does mention that he's, like, obscenely fat and there's a reason he doesn't get picked on. Apparently, that method, it has two components. You have to be extremely aggressive and overly gay.
What?
He then screams at Coffee to suck his dick, and I'm reminded that I've wasted pretty much my entire life up until this point.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of works.
Well, we'll see. It does. We'll see. So Coffee sneaks inside the compound and gets immediately caught by a goon with a machine gun. However, as Coffee is about to be brutally murdered and my suffering ends, Kareem comes up from behind and talks shit to the goon to distract him so Coffee can wallop him with a fire extinguisher. They do this a few more times, and eventually Kareem ends up threatening to mace Coffee unless he gives him his gun, which doesn't really go anywhere, but I don't know, it's a weird scene.
Okay.
They get to the drug lab where a bunch of ladies in their underwear are mixing coke with baby powder and whatnot. However you make coke, I don't actually know. Kareem gets distracted by naked ladies and wanders off while Coffee and Juice run into each other and engage in what I'm going to call a cocaine fight as they beat each other up all across the lab, which is marginally amusing because, like, eventually Coffee's just winging big bricks of coke at Juice. Juice is like, stop throwing my coke. It was kind of Juice is entertaining to the point of where he's like, we'll talk about it a little later, but Juice is not bad. Like, if them, we'll get to it. I'm getting off track. So yeah, Kareem comes up and accosts the Juice, blah, blah, blah. They take Juice to somewhere, I don't know where, just some random house, I guess, and tie him to a chair to start questioning him. The whole bit turns into Coffee trying to use what Kareem taught him about being gay and aggressive. But he fucks it up and makes it, quote, weirdly romantic, which freaks the Juice up enough that he cracks. Like, he's like trying to gay talk him into giving up, but he's like, he's like screaming in his face, like, I'm going to learn about your needs. I'm going to ask you to marry me in a beautiful moonlit night. And shit like that. It's not as funny as I'm making it. It's funny because I'm hilarious. It's not as funny as it sounds. It's kind of clever, I guess. It's clever because the way Juice reacts is funny. Because he, like, starts to get into the fantasy of it. Like, he starts responding. He starts responding in character, like, we only been dating 8 months. I don't know if I'm going to take this to the next level.
My God.
It's a marginally amusing exchange, but, like, I don't know. Ed Helms didn't sell it for me. Like, it could have been better. It was one of the better bits in the movie, but, again, it's also just, it's uncomfortable. Don't use homosexuality as a weapon. I keep going over that, too. Come on.
Yeah.
Damn it. So, apparently, also, Juice had Kareem's phone in his ass because... why not? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, like, affect the plot. He just had it in his ass. Because of course he did. That's what you do. I'm dying. Just hold on. Vamp while I die.
I have kept the microphone in my ass for this entire episode. Is that going to be a problem, Larry?
Is that what that muffling sound was? What? If that's in your ass, what's in your mouth? Oh, God. So Coffee and Kareem get Juice to roll on his dirty cop contact by agreeing to protect him when all the shit goes down. He tells them that, it's Debbie! You mean...
Meryl Streep?
Basically the only other real named character in the whole movie who was already painted as an antagonist from the start.
Yay! Great writing!
So yeah, in the history of movie villain reveals, this is one of the more predictable ones. Because there's literally only 2 options for who it could be. Technically 3. The Captain, Debbie, or both. So,
or Vanessa. Could have been Vanessa.
No, she's clearly not. Because stuff happens while she's unconscious, chained to a side of a wall.
That would have been the twist, Larry. That would have been that would have been a Shyamalama Ding Dong twist.
It would have been a horrible twist. So technically, yes, you're right. It would have been a Shyamalan twist because it's horrible. They're the only 2 because it's a cop, you moron. She's a nurse. There's only 2 options it could be, so or both. So, like, as an audience member, this is not a shock. Yeah, okay, it's a shock to Coffee. Ooh, but you didn't give me any options. It's not a reveal.
Wait, no. What if it's Kareem's white elementary school friend? Bam.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Twist.
You researched too much Shyamalan when you did Avatar because you're going too far into his realm of thought.
I'm about to be an NYU grad and take Hollywood by storm, Larry.
God,
Snap my suspenders now.
He's a millionaire.
He is.
He's a millionaire. My rent's going up $30 a month, and I'm facing potentially homelessness.
I think his house is worth something like $50 million. It's around here too. It's like in Chester or something.
You think
it's in the suburbs of Philly.
You think he needs like a manservant or a pool boy or a man boy? Is that a thing?
You're not a man boy.
No.
You're definitely not a man boy. You're not a sexual servant to a man.
No.
I mean, I'm sure if Meryl Streep, after she's done filming this movie, wanted like a...
It's not Meryl Streep, you fucking moron.
If she needed to hire a carpet muncher, I'm sure you could oblige.
This is horrible. This is horrible. Why are we doing this?
I'm empowering a talented actress with being able to hire a carpet muncher at will.
Please stop saying carpet muncher.
What?
It's making me uncomfortable, and I don't know
Okay, fine.
why.
Maybe she gets it waxed, and you're a linoleum licker.
It's cunnilinguist. Thank you very much. This is awful. Now we're just talking about going down on Meryl Streep, who's not even in this movie. What are we
she
doing?
deserves all of the pleasure. She's earned it.
So Juice reveals that he never wanted to be a criminal. He was just in the drug game to get enough money to open a studio. I may or may not have mentioned that he was an up-and-coming rapper before all this. So they toss him into the trunk and they head off to the strip club where Coffee is going to meet the captain to reveal what's going on with Debbie. Fuck, I hate this movie. Back at the motel, Vanessa wakes up and reads the note that Kareem left, which basically blames Coffee for the entire thing. We also see that she's ripped the pipe out of the wall like a mad gorilla and is now free.
Jesus.
Outside, Dee and Rodney, Juice's goons, pull up and start looking for her. I also forgot to mention that the motel owner called the cops on them once he saw there was a reward for Coffee, and also the news said that Coffee was a diddler. So that's how they knew she was there. Again, I have an inherent need to fill plot holes when they come up, so I have to do this. I'm sorry.
It's like whack-a-mole. There's too many in this.
No, they kind of, in fairness, they kind of fill them all. It's just not, it's not interesting, and it's not satisfying. It's like a LaCroix. Like, you know how LaCroix is not good, but, like, it's just enough? Like, it does the job. It just does it in a piss-poor way. It's the LaCroix of plot hole filling.
Right, like your low-quality carpet muncher.
God damn you. Like, it does answer all the fucking dumb questions it raises, but it's just like, thanks. Okay, great. Yes. Technically, you did what I asked.
Low-quality carpet muncher. It fits too well.
Low-quality cunnilinguist. So they banter outside.
Thanks, honey. You can go home now.
Is that Meryl Streep to me?
Yeah, you would be her mid-tier. Like, you're not
honored?
You're not diddling her, not diddling, that's the wrong word. You're not on deck after, the night after the Oscars, but I feel like after the Golden Globes,
How's your comedy career coming along?
Great.
You get your Tight 5 stand-up done yet?
Hey, Meryl. Know any agents?
Is she alive still?
She's a listener.
Oh, it must be in Kansas. So, what are we doing?
I don't know.
This
is without cocaine.
Yeah. So the goons are outside of Vanessa's fucking motel room, and they're bantering, and Rodney mentions that Dee blew off the motel owner's kneecap off screen. So considering that, the cut-off ear, the eventual murder of Officer Choi, and now this kneecap blowing off, we get the setup that Dee is our violent goon, and Rodney is our idiot goon. A setup which would probably be far more interesting if we had time to explore instead of Dumb and Dumber ass that are our main characters. That's the problem. Everyone in this movie... No one's really phenomenal. I kind of think Debbie is. We'll get to that. But everyone in this movie is more interesting than Coffee and Kareem. And that's like such a disservice to what might have been like a better movie than this. If you focused on everyone else, it might have been like, it's tolerable. It might be a 5 out of 10 just for the fact that like these people are over the top and they're entertaining enough that like they can kind of limp this across the finish line, whereas this gets nowhere close.
Never good when your titular characters are overshadowed by the support team.
No, and they are like totally like Ed Helms has a couple of scenes that are like, all right, this is fine, but most of the time it's like, oh god, these two are the worst. But so anyway, at the strip club, Kareem is just apparently allowed inside and up to the stage where the titties live with no question. A movie fact that I would find more suspect if this was not Detroit, where I think that actually is okay. Coffee asks Kareem in a stepdaddy manner if he has any questions about women. That's my soul leaving my body, excuse me. They have some heartwarming bonding time about shitty dads and relationships that Kareem then ruins by mentioning how he blew his first load last week.
What?
Yeah, he blew his first load. Sneezing out of your dick, as he puts it.
Why is that in the movie?
Because my life is hell, Isaac.
I don't want to know about 12-year-old boys coming.
Give it a minute. Coffee then buys him some time to talk to one of the strippers and learn how to talk to girls, which Kareem does for a minute before ruining it by asking her how much it costs to look at her pussy. Remind me again why I'm supposed to like Kareem.
Because he blew his first load last week?
It was $5, by the way.
Oh, God.
Kareem is very obviously 12, but again, it's a movie, it's Detroit, whatever. So the captain shows up, and Coffee reveals that Debbie is dirty. When Debbie shows up as well and reveals that, gasp, both she and the captain are dirty. So I guess it was option C. It was both of them. So the captain and Coffee are going back and forth, and the captain tells Coffee that he loves cocaine and he's high as a motherfucker right now, which, again, the captain has been like sort of stoic, black man, police chief kind of guy who's like Coffee's only supporter. And here he gets a little scene where he's like, interesting, where he's like, motherfucker, I love cocaine. Remember when I told you about that Jaguar with drug money and you laughed and thought it was a joke? That was drug money. And where's he has like a funny bit here. And then it just gets ruined. Well, A, because Debbie shoots him right in his fucking head.
Oh,
but
Jesus
B,
Christ.
Because it just makes Coffee and Kareem even more unlikable. Like, who are these other people who are marginally interesting compared to these two fucking morons? So yeah, Debbie shoots him right in his big bald head. And she just, with no provocation, like he wasn't about to turn. He was explaining to Coffee that he's been a dick this whole time. And she just decides like, I'll just shoot him right in his head. Which she says means she gets a bigger share now. And now I get to talk about Debbie. I love Debbie. Like, she's the best part of this movie by far. She's a great actress. Like, I liked her in Glow a lot. But here, pretty much from now until the end of the movie, she is a lunatic. And it is supremely entertaining. Huh. Like, she is, like, losing her mind. And this actress plays it very well. Again,
Meryl is good. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm really glad you've committed to the Meryl Streep bit. That's great. That's really top notch. It's really your best work.
Yeah.
Like she does a great job. And again, I wish this was in a different movie where she could have shined more. But like she plays an excellent nutcase. Like she's not even on drugs. Like that's about because she does a bump of coke later, which we'll get to. And she's like, oh, definitely done that before. Definitely, that wasn't my first time. So, like, she's not a drug addict. She's just a crazy person. And it's great. Like, she really does an excellent job as an actress of being this psychopath, murderous, insane woman. And, like, I hope she gets more roles and gets a chance to shine.
I like crazy for crazy's sake, so that's always good.
Yeah, she's great. She's about to shoot both Coffee and Kareem, but Coffee hits her with the sock full of change they've been carrying around this whole movie. Kareem manages to get away and eventually drives a police car into Debbie, giving he and Coffee the chance to escape. Debbie's fine. She finds Juice in the trunk of the stolen car, and the two of them give chase in a different police car. I'm glazing over a lot of the little details here, but from here on out, the movie is actually just total chaos for literally the rest of the run, so just bear with me. A car chase ensues with Coffee and Debbie taking pot shots at each other. Coffee gets his head banged off a street sign, and eventually both cars end up in a roundabout where Coffee and Debbie hurl insults at each other through their police loudspeakers. The roundabout, like in fucking European Vacation, hey look,
right.
Kids, Big Band Parliament. Because that's a fucking reference our listeners will understand. Hey listeners, are you about to turn 30? Then you'll get this movie you watched with your drunken father 10 years ago. Probably more like 20 years ago, I guess. God, I'm old. So eventually Juice and Debbie manage to drive through a boat, which explodes, but they're fine because it's a movie. Whatever, sure. Coffee and Kareem go to the... No, you know what? No, this boat thing, I was not going to say it, but I got to say it. It's a boat that's like a truck pulling a boat. And if you've ever seen that before, they put a boat on a trailer, which is like a flat couple of steel bars with tires. It's more complex than that, but that's the long and short.
More or less, yeah.
They're driving at it, and the boat, by virtue of being on a trailer, is, I'll say, 1.5 feet off the ground at its lowest point, probably. And somehow they drive through this, like the scene changes as they're about to go through it, to them coming out through the boat off of the ground. Which means they must have hit a fucking invisible GTA 5 ramp to go through the boat, because otherwise they'd have hit the trailer and just died. And that's the only real point of continuity that there's like this is obviously dumb problem. Well, until later, which I will get to, I promise.
Oh, boy.
But I don't know. I was gonna let it go, but no, fuck that. It bothered me. So Coffee and Kareem go to the motel room to pick up Vanessa, but find the room trashed that the goons have her. Kareem wants to go and roust the villains who took her, but Coffee refuses to let Kareem go off and get himself killed because, in case you forgot, Kareem is a 12-year-old boy. The two start yelling at each other, and Coffee says he wished he'd never met Vanessa since she had such a shitty kid. When Vanessa herself comes into the room, and we cut to the fight scene, we see where the goons try to grab her, and she beats the ever-loving shit out of them because, yeah, sure, okay, she's a mom, and moms are super tough.
Mama Bear.
That's her whole character. She has them tied up in the car now.
Jesus Christ.
Vanessa says she's done with Coffee and takes Kareem and tries to drive off before some more goons come and kidnap Vanessa and Kareem and then leave. Despite the fact that Coffee is beat all to hell, he just got his foot run over by Vanessa in a comedy scene I failed to mention. He's been shot, I think, twice at this point. There's a fuckload of goons. They could have easily slaughtered the entire mismatched little family in the street, which is their ultimate goal. But hey, what do I know? I guess I only run this Larry Beard School of Villainy, the highest-rated movie villain success school in the country, so I suppose I'm not fucking qualified! We get a scene of Coffee preparing to go fight all the goons and save Vanessa and Kareem. He records a video of himself outlining everything that's happened today, and he says that he loves Kareem and Vanessa, and he's going to stop the villains from succeeding in their big drug deal with the French-Canadian mobsters, which, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, that's who the deal is with. There's a big drug deal, and it's with French-Canadian mobsters.
The French-Canadian mobsters.
French-Canadian mobsters.
The also, worst mobsters.
What's that?
What? The worst Why would that be? Why would they be the mobsters?
Because French accents are funny.
They're not, Larry. They're not.
If I keep staring off into the distance, I might see the horizon where I'm gonna hang myself. Which, oh, by the way, I forgot. Coffee calls Debbie and tells her he will trade his life for the family's lives. So Coffee rolls up to the steel mill where the drug deal is taking place, which, by the way, I don't think I ever outlined what actually is going on in the background of this movie. But the deal is that Juice and Debbie set up this, like, multi-million-dollar whatever drug deal that's been going on in the background the whole time. But it's just an excuse for violence, so it doesn't really matter. It's just about Coffee and Kareem. And, like, there's drugs are happening in the background. Debbie and Juice go to Debbie has Juice bring out Vanessa and Kareem, and then Coffee and Debbie negotiate over who's going to go out first. Eventually, Coffee gets out of the car and reveals that he has grenades. Again, normally I would question this, but these are the police. This is 2020, and again, it is Detroit. So frankly, I think this is probably accurate. While Coffee is giving his heroic speech, Debbie shoots him in the arm and he drops the grenade and, freaking out, kicks it at the goons. It lands under the feet of D, the violent goon, who says he isn't afraid of no grenades before exploding into human chunks. Holy shit.
Damn. That's an escalation.
He explodes like a mannequin exploding.
Fuck.
So he explodes into violent human goo all over the cocaine. And Debbie starts losing her mind that, like, a part, it's not all the coke, but like a part, like half of it's ruined now. And
you just sell it at a discount.
You are, are you Shane Mack?
I am a cocaine dealer extraordinaire.
Why haven't you sold me coke?
You haven't asked.
Isaac, you sell me some coke?
Are you FBI?
Legally, I have to say yes. Fuck! So Debbie starts freaking out. She's trying to pull the human chunks off of the cocaine, including his head. It's fucking horrifying. God. While promoting Rodney to lead goon and he's the idiot goon, by the way. And she sends him and the Juice after Coffee and Co. have shuffled off further into the mill. Juice catches up with the heroes and is about to shoot them. Eventually, he, Coffee, and Kareem all start yelling at each other and calling each other bitches before Vanessa freaks out and screams at all of them, calling them soft and saying they have big man egos and big swinging rhino dicks, and just tells them all to stop posturing because Debbie's going to kill them all. Juice admits he's never shot anyone in his life, and he just wanted to be a musician, and he's just into the drug game because of songs he wrote when he was 17. So he flips to Team Good Guy, and now all four of them try to leave. All right, we're getting to the end. So Canadians show up for the deal. Debbie tries to smooth him into buying the coke since literally half of it is burnt to smithereens in a weird melty coke goo covered in human bit. They go back and forth on price while the Coffee gang lurks in the shadows because apparently this deal is happening by, and I quote, the only exit from the steel mill. I'll direct your attention to Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs document R408.10634, Rule 634, Article 2, which states, and I quote, Where the contents of a building are classified as high hazard, there shall be not less than 2 exits which are accessible in different directions. All doors shall swing in the direction of exit travel. Where floor areas are divided into rooms, there shall be not less than 2 ways of escape from every room, however small, except for toilet rooms that are not located in areas of high hazard classification. And if you'll point to Rule 604, Article 5 of the same document, this classifies a high hazard content as, quote, combustibles of a character or nature that burn with extreme rapidity, from which extremely poisonous fumes or explosions are to be expected in the case of fire. Going to go out on a limb and say a steel mill has got that, especially considering the steel mill's about to blow up in 3 minutes movie time. So, yeah.
Top-notch research, Larry.
Thank you.
I'm proud.
I looked at legal documents. In case you're curious, this is a real thing. Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs document R408.10634. It's Rule 634, Article 2. You see why I want to die, right? So yeah, there's only one fucking exit from this goddamn miracle steel mill. Anyway, the 2 villainous parties settle on a deal before the police helicopters show up. I also forgot to mention that as part of his apology fucking live stream or whatever, Coffee requested police backup, and I guess they believed him, even though he's the guy they all hated, so whatever. So the next few minutes are pretty much an orgy of violence. We all know how much I love those. The 2 villainous parties assume the others set them up and basically just start gunning each other down in a horrifying bloodshed gun battle. Debbie accidentally shoots Rodney in the ass or something as she's escaping with the money. Again, I'll explain Rodney in a minute. Coffee and Juice run out, guns blazing, to make a distraction so Kareem and Vanessa... Oh, I'm dying. My soul keeps trying to leave my body.
You still have that soul? I don't even remember what it tastes like.
I have a soul. Kareem mentioned that we got slow motion heroics as our 4 heroes leave. Kareem mentions that he would be pissed if Coffee died, which is about the only character growth he gets in the entire movie. Kareem and Vanessa make it out. Meanwhile, Debbie has to shoot the hand off of the Canadian who has the money attached to his wrist via handcuff, which was gross. But as Coffee and Juice are about to escape, Debbie shoots Juice in the leg. Coffee confronts Debbie, but both are out of bullets. Debbie starts sobbing and admits everything got so out of hand, and of course Coffee falls for it immediately, because he's an idiot, and that's never changed. And Naturally. They have their epic last fight where they punch each other a bunch and shoot each other a bunch. Eventually, Coffee hits her with the briefcase and stuffs the dismembered hand into her mouth.
And God.
Escapes while she's picking up the money that fell out. Meanwhile, we see that idiot goon Rodney has managed to escape with some of the coke and some of the money, I guess setting up for Coffee and Kareem too. Because Rodney just escapes. He's like the idiot goon. We get a couple minutes devoted to him, escaping. He's nobody. Who cares? It's dumb. And it's, not even done in an interesting or funny way.
Right.
He's the goon's comedy relief. I mean, everybody's kind of the comedy relief. No one in this movie is played seriously at all. And
yeah, but obviously...
fine. That's the point. I don't mind that. But he's the comedy relief of the comedy relief.
Yeah. So he's not, on his hands and knees, scrambling around or anything. It's just...
Well, he gets shot in the ass, so he has to crawl out. But, he does escape and then just, has a couple handfuls of billfolds and, some coke and just leaves. And that's it. We never see him again. We don't see him, do something later. He just leaves. Yeah. I swear to God, they're setting up for Coffee and Kareem, too.
We're going to get it, Larry. It's going to happen.
So Coffee is all burnt up with, second-degree burns. The place explodes, by the way. But he gets out. He's got second-degree burns. He's getting loaded into an ambulance when Debbie bursts onto the scene, out of the wreck with a gun, about to shoot Coffee dead. But she gets shot dead herself many, many, many times by Vanessa, who I guess took Coffee's gun or something.
Jesus.
And for this act of murdering a woman in the street with 15 bullets, she is accosted by no cops. So I guess that's Detroit, baby.
What? And also, technically, Debbie is a cop.
Yeah, there's literally cops everywhere. No one knows that Debbie's dirty except for Coffee, who everyone hates. What? It doesn't make any sense.
Larry, I can't. Oh my God.
I mean, whatever. That's what, I normally would care about that more, but, it's literally 30 seconds left in the movie, so fine, whatever. Kareem gives his blessing to let Coffee fuck Vanessa, and the movie ends with a fist bump, and it's fucking finally over.
Jesus.
So, what to say about Coffee and Kareem? It's awful. The 2 main characters, never evolve. Like, the whole time we're told and shown, in fairness, that Coffee is like a milquetoast dumbass. And he kind of gets the evolution at the end where he gets like a suit up scene where he like, gives his epic speech and he's like pulling the police patches off his arm. He has like police body armor and he's loading up a shotgun. But like, even in the gunfight, like he doesn't do anything impressive. He like kicks a grenade that's about to blow up under him, and he like takes he like punches Debbie a couple of times, but like he doesn't become like last action hero. And
there's no Rocky training montage or anything.
No, he doesn't like evolve as a character. He's still the same dopey Ed Helms dumbass that he was from the start to finish. And even worse is Kareem. Kareem gets no better. He starts awful and stays awful. And like, everything he says is so out of touch. But like, not for but just like, this kid would not say it. Like, it's so ludicrous. Even in a movie that's meant to be ludicrous. Like, again, it's a wacky comedy. Like, that's fine. You're in that realm, sure. But he doesn't get any better. And, like, his only point of redemption is, like, as Juice also lives, by the way. As Juice and Coffee are about to, like, go out guns blazing to, like, give them a chance to escape, he's like, hey, I'd be really sad. I'd be pissed off if you got shot. Like, that's it. And they fist bump at the end. Like, at no point do they bond? Like, it's always couched in the fact that Kareem hates him because he's a cop and because he's a little black boy, and little black boys hate cops. And again, Netflix, fuck you for doing this shit again. But like, but Kareem is like, he seems completely irredeemably awful. He starts off and ends off as a shitty little prick. He has no point of redemption, no path that makes him any more likable to the audience's eyes. He just feels too unbelievable to ever be liked. And even at the end, he just barely acknowledges that Coffee is, like, just all right. It doesn't even do the buddy formula right. They're not a duo. It's just like Ed Helms has got this fucking kid who's a pain in the ass. It's not a buddy cop movie. Which is what they were going for. And, like, they're going for that. They, like I said, they named the police chief after the director, blah, blah, blah. Like,
they failed to do the buddy cop thing. And it's not like they were trying to, we're going to do the buddy cop thing, but we're going to turn it on its head and do this. It's just they sucked at it.
Yeah, they totally flubbed it. And that wouldn't have made it better, really, but it would have been, like, I don't necessarily need things to follow the formula, the God fucking handed down the 10 Commandments of buddy cop movies from the sky or anything, but like, the fact that it was going for that and failed at that just makes it worse. And the two of them are not likable on their own, they're not likable together, and they don't mesh well. Juice and Debbie were far more likable than the main characters. Debbie was a fucking psychopath, and that was fun. But just to watch, like, she doesn't get a ton of scenes, but like the last 20 minutes of the movie, she's heavily in it, and like, her trying to figure out how to talk to the Canadians and like trying to sell them the cocaine was funny. Like, she's just losing her mind, insane, like, suburban housewife cop who's like gone off the deep edge was entertaining, and she plays that role like perfectly.
I'm intrigued about that now.
And Juice is very entertaining too. Like, Juice and Ed Helms play off each other awesomely. You could have, here's a fucking movie idea, Coffee and Juice. I can do it too, Hollywood. It's easy. Every interaction those two had was light years more entertaining than Kareem and Coffee, which is just Kareem calling him a pussy. That's like his biggest bit. And he's 12 and he said pussy. He talks about eating ladies out and he tosses salads because he's 12 years. He doesn't do that, but he talks about it.
Right.
Because he's like, the foul-mouthed kid formula has been done. It's over. No one wants it anymore. No one wants the buddy cop thing anymore. Ed Helms and the guy who played Juice were great off each other. Like, it's very entertaining. Like, that might have worked. Again, that might have made this like a 5 out of 10. Especially with Debbie after them the whole movie. Like, that might be a 6 out of 10. Like, those worked. Just Kareem is just the wrench in these work. And again, Ed Helms is nothing special, but like tossing this unlikable little shit 12-year-old kid who starts bad and ends bad, really just fouls the whole fucking thing up. And that's the whole concept of the movie. It just ruins it.
Yeah, the whole idea of having a buddy cop comedy where one of the cops is not a cop but a 12-year-old, however it's portrayed, is weird and like isn't gonna work and is gonna be a problem. And obviously, I mean, there's some children actors that are really good, but most of them aren't all that good just because they don't have the experience.
No.
So they're just not going to be able to get that dynamic of, like you said, that Ed Helms and Juice have playing off of each other.
And like you could even like Ed Helms is not entertaining to me because he's still Ed Helms. But like I said, he's not terrible. He knows his role. And and you could have had him like the interplay with him and Juice was great. Like it worked. It's just not there's not much of it. But you could do a whole movie of that and it might work.
Yeah, and I think where Ed Helms not necessarily shines, but where he's more entertaining in The Office is not like where he's just looking into the camera and talking as Ed Helms is boring as fuck. Mm-hmm. But when he's playing off of someone else, when he's got scenes with Dwight, with Jim, with whoever, then it gets a lot more interesting.
Right. So
you could have, Ed Helms is mediocre, but you could have used him to his strengths more by, if the movie, like you said, had been coffee and juice.
Yeah, he has a niche that works. Like, you could have done that. Like, it's just... This movie is like, it's a tragedy of blunders where I can see the pieces of this that worked and I could see where there was an idea and it just fucking drops the ball so badly with Kareem. It's Kareem.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Ed Helms is not interesting. Like, the character of white guying it up and being bland white guy in a city full of black people. That's what they go for, okay? It's not me. That's what this movie is portrayed as. Like, that's not interesting or fun, but the other characters playing off of that worked, except for the main one, Kareem. Like, that's the problem.
I feel like after the first draft was done, someone should have said, are we really married to the pun? And if you have someone with just that critical eyes, like, you know what? The pun's kind of stupid. There's some stuff that works. Like, let's go back to the drawing board.
It was based off that pun.
Yeah.
Because, like, on paper, I mean, I think a lot of this movie is saved by the performances of the other characters. Because, like I said, the Chief coming out and being like, I fucking love cocaine. Like, it was fun for the 35 seconds he got before he got his head blown off. And Debbie was fun. Juice was fun. Like, that's not going to necessarily shine on paper. Because on paper, it's just a complete turd. I think they like helped a lot in pulling up the side aspects of this. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10 for the side characters. If not for them, it's almost a 1 because like Coffee and Kareem are totally irredeemable.
Jeez.
Like it really like it's one of the worst like as far as like actor pairings go in bowels of Netflix, nothing's gonna beat fucking. I keep want to say Mr. Belvedere, Bedeviled. Nothing's gonna beat the kids in Bedeviled were like the worst actors that have ever fucking walked the earth. But this pairing of Coffee and Cream is a very close second because it just never works. So it sucked. It's a pity because you could have almost done this right. But yeah, it sucked. It was a shitty premise based off of a pun. Never based a movie off of a pun. That's it. I'm done. Fuck it. I said my goddamn piece.
I don't think we've ever had a movie where it was that it had as much potential as it did in certain odd ways, but was just
it's very strange
by its main cast.
It's very strange because like. Oh man, it's never before can I see the potential for what you could have done better with like, okay, like this works. Like there's stuff that worked and they just didn't go with it. They were really married to that pun.
That's why you need multiple drafts and you need someone to call you on your shit.
Yeah. Larry Beard's School of Villainy is accepting applications anytime and any day, man.
Is that to teach actors how to play villains or how to teach people how to be villains?
How to be villains.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
My ultimate goal for Larry Beard's School of Movie Villainy is that I'm murdered by my best student. Because that's what he should be doing. So I can't teach anybody better than him. That is, my last breath will be congratulating him and handing him a diploma.
I don't think you should put that on the air. So I feel like that's like crib notes. And they're just going to come after you right away.
100 subscribers by February. Line of coke off this laptop. Live.
Oh my god. We are the Bowels of Netflix. Thank you so much for listening. Send us an email, bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Twitter. We're coming to TikTok soon with googly eyes on our what's hits and what's nots, and it's gonna be hot. We're the only Bowels of Netflix out there. If you find another one, we're gonna beat him and we're gonna beat you and lock you back in the closet where you belong. With us.
Yeah.
Rate and subscribe. Give us 5 stars. Leave a review. Tell all your friends. Tell your grandma to get off her fucking bed.
Hey, subscribe to us if you love us. Honestly, it would really help a lot.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I'm asking of you.
I get very angry because I'm tired of grannies not listening to the show. But if anyone actually is listening, we really do appreciate you, and
yes,
it's awesome that people are out there and giving us a chance.
I am truly humbled that if you listen to this and find us funny. Like I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
It's not a very deep heart, to be fair.
I mean, I think I don't even know what number episode this is, but there's a lot of episodes proving that I am a foul, black-hearted, soulless piece of shit human slime. But whatever humanity is left truly appreciates you listeners. Because I don't know why anyone would listen to this.
If you want to write in and tell us why you're mentally unstable, by all means, do so. We'll be back in your feed next week. We got fucking Road Trip 2 Electric Boogaloo coming up.
I'm interested to hear about that, because I have vague memories of Road Trip 1 from a long, long time ago.
Yeah, this is going to be so much better, because it was made 10 years later, and it's all about beer pong. Can't wait.
It features Garth from Supernatural again. He's back.
God, what? His career is so weird.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so what's his level of fame? Does he have like a small mansion, or does he have an apartment with one light bulb hanging and a bunch of milk cartons like soaking into the shag carpet?
If my apartment class is G, his apartment class is D, and he's eyeing up a C. He's definitely in an apartment, or he owns like a suburban family home.
He might have I bet a nice condo.
Yeah, that's maximum nice condo.
A condo with 2 bedrooms and a den. And maybe like a little loft situation. Like a nice condo, but, condo.
Oh, God.
That's like my dream home. God, I'm sad. I'm sad now.
I dream home as one that has a roof. At this point, it's going to be the cold. Winter is coming.
You can hot glue shingles on a refrigerator box. Yeah, you need an outlet for the hot glue, so never mind.
And I gotta steal the shingles.
Just stuff them in your overcoat as you run out of the mall.
A joke that is only funny to us. Yeah. Alright, end the show. Fucking God.
God, we love you. We'll see you next week.
Smell you later from our buddy Cop Podcast. Is that anything? Is that something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nothing. Oh, no.
I'll be Pi and you'll be Lamode.
No, you're Al and I'm Lamode. Just fucking smell you later.